Hi everybody, what's up? Welcome back to another one. First things first, congratulations to Polokwane City for winning the NFT and making it back to the PSL. In this video, we're gonna be looking at how much it costs to run a DStv Premiership club and why most teams keep getting relegated. So according to an article by Farpost, PSL teams are given around 2 million grant by the PSL every month, which needs to cater for traveling, accommodation, stadium fees, player salaries, technical team salaries, and it is also estimated that player salaries are averaging around 1 million rand a month, and technical team salaries are also averaging around a million rand a month. At the end of the month, the total cost will be around 3.5 to 5 million rand a month, guys. So keep in mind, guys, this amount will of course vary depending on the team. If we look at teams like Chipa United, for example, there's only one team in the province that is playing in the PSL. That means most of their away games, they have to be traveling out of the province to go play these teams, and that will mean more traveling fees, more accommodation fees. And according to the Farpost article, it takes around 150,000 rands to transport a team from Joburg to Durban. And this is why most teams, after getting promotion, they end up selling their statuses or getting relegated. Don't be fooled, guys. Money plays a huge role in the success of a team, because with money you can buy and retain the best players and the best coaches, have the best doctors and best training facilities. And this relationship is clearly stated in the book titled Soccernomics, which will explain why African countries usually struggle against their richer counterparts. For example, do check out the link for the book in the description box below. So what is my solution to the PSL clubs? Number one, we need sponsorships, guys. This is where the PSL and the government need to come in and play a role. We have too many companies operating in SA, and you're telling me that none of them will sponsor our clubs? Personally, I think it should be mandatory for some of these companies, especially companies that are involved directly in sports. Like, the government should put policies in place to say, if we grant you gambling operating licenses, for example, you're gonna need to sponsor at least one of the teams in this country. I mean, how much money are we losing every month on Betway? How many of us are betting on those platforms? And none of our teams are sponsored by those people. But
yeah, 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 Delta Grant, yeah, yeah. Ah, wawana, so
none of our teams are sponsored by those people. But if you look overseas, teams in England are sponsored by betting companies, yet they are not sponsoring any of our teams locally. How many McDonald's are operational in this country? And none of our teams are being sponsored by McDonald's. But if you look overseas, there's teams that are being sponsored by these franchises. So I think it should be put in policies, but PSL needs to lobby sponsorships somehow for these teams. Number two, teams should be owned by companies, not individuals. We have seen many signs of lack of professionalism from most of these PSL clubs. Coaches being fired every month, players not getting their salaries, and most of these teams, if you check, they're run by their owners and their families. Personally, if I was a sponsor, I wouldn't be so comfortable giving money to these people, because they can just chow their money or decide to sell their team next week, and my investments will not be fruitful. So there isn't a lot of inspiration for sponsorships, I feel, on my part. So we need to be more professional, have the teams owned by a board, for example. So most of these teams will need to start showing some level of accountability if they're gonna attract sponsorships. Take clubs like Real Madrid and Barcelona, for example. According to reports, those teams are owned by fans. The fans get to buy a stake in the team and contribute a yearly fee. If only 1,000 fans were to contribute only 1,000 rands a year, which is basically less than 100 rand every month, that team would have over 10 million rands a year. And number three, DStv needs to end its monopoly when it comes to broadcasting of our games, because now it's only a few privileged people who can afford to pay DStv who get to watch these games. So that limits the coverage. Imagine if the Soweto Derby, for example, was being televised all around the world, just like the El Clasico. Imagine how much coverage the DSTV would get and how much sponsorship it would attract. And lastly but not least, we need local brands to jump in on sponsorships. Imagine if Drip sponsored one of our teams, or Batu for example. We cannot have teams like Golden Arrows not having kids sponsorships. Imagine if Matlosa sponsored Golden Arrows or Orlando Pirates for example. Imagine how much money they would make from selling those t-shirts. So if I'm not mistaken, only 6 teams in the PSL have got sponsors. Those teams would include teams like Orlando Pirates, Kaizer Chiefs, Stellenbosch FC, Cape Town City, SuperSport and Amazulu. The rest of the teams don't have sponsors. So yeah, that was my 2 cents, guys. I'm trying to keep these videos short for you guys. Please do let me know what you guys think. Leave some suggestions on the comment section below. And if you did enjoy this video, please leave us a like. It does help a lot. Please subscribe to the channel for more videos. Cheers.